de Invincible. Bora, pode chamar? Robert Kirkman, Gillian Jacobs, Sandra! This is amazing. Yeah, it's a real fandom. It's a real fandom. Sandra Oh, everyone.
Oi, Brasil!
Welcome, guys. Welcome, welcome.
Hello.
Hey, Sandra, do you know a little Portuguese? They are saying,
Yes,
Sandra, I love
because
you.
I tried to learn it. Eu te amo, amor. Eu te amo.
That's great, that's great. It's great having you here. Thank you so much. Robert, you've been to San Diego Comic Con forever, and you know pop culture as anyone here. And is this your first time in Brazil?
Yes, yes, and I have to say, this is definitely the most impressive Comic-Con I have ever attended. This is something really special. You guys have something really magical here. I could not be more impressed with the crowds, with the people, with the convention. Everything's been spectacular. It's been great. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Well, diving into Invincible, Season 2 ended with so many shocking twists and turns. I want to start with Gillian because, of course, we want to ask you about your take on Mark and Eve as a possible couple. I'm wondering, are you rooting for them? What are the feelings between those two like?
Well, I think it's complicated. Oh my gosh.
Here it comes.
I was telling Sandra the first time I went to Comic-Con for Community, I came out and I started crying because of the fan response, and you guys are making me cry again. This is amazing. Thank you all so much for being here. It means so much. I'm so lucky to be a part of this show. So Adam, Eve, and Mark, I think it's complicated because they're friends. You know, he's had a girlfriend. She's been very respectful of that. And she's also going through a lot. So I don't know. I think she's got to figure herself out first, which is probably what you would say to any good friend of yours, right? Like, work on yourself first and think about the boy later.
All right, speaking of the boys, Sandra, your character is trying to... Your character, Debbie, she's trying to overcome this story with Nolan for 2 seasons now. And maybe he comes back to Earth on the future.
Maybe.
He's kind of being toxic still.
Yes, well, many people, many women know what it's like to be betrayed. And many people know what it's like to go through a trauma. And what I really admire about the seasons and the writing is that it doesn't enter it quickly. You know what I mean? Debbie is really trying to find her way. And eventually, who knows, maybe might rebuild a relationship with Nolan. But there's a lot to figure out along the way. And mostly with herself before with him.
Of course, you did the comics before. You know how the story ends. Do you feel kind of the push to change a little bit or changing a lot? How do you treat that?
Well, I think of the show mostly as like a second draft of the comic. So I like the idea of like taking every scene, digging into the nooks and crannies, working very closely with co-showrunner Simon Rasiopa and the writing team to expand the characters' roles and try to like find the things that, you know, didn't quite fit in the comic. But I will say that, you know, we have a fan base that's very dedicated to the comic book series, and there are moments that they are expecting to see, that they're excited to see, and we, you know, hear that, and we put so much effort in servicing those moments and also making them better in any way that we can. I think you can see from the first 2 seasons, the moments that you see from the comics that are familiar to you, there's some little twist to them, there's some extra element. You know, a scene could be longer or shorter or whatever, and I think as long as we're plussing things up, then those changes are justified.
Well, Invincible often shows us a brutal, violent take on the superhero genre. I wonder, Gillian and Sandra, when you get the scripts, is there always some apprehension? You're like, are you wondering if you're going to make it? But also how much grunting, how much moaning you have to do on the booth, you know?
Oh, yes. And, you know, Adam Eve has had some pretty incredible fight scenes. I mean, in season 2, there were some epic fights. And we spend hours in the booth getting all the noises. You wouldn't believe the number of punches I've thrown, punches I've received, pink bubbles I've cast. I mean, it takes, yeah. And it's incredible, the sound design on this show when it all comes together. Of course, the animation is so amazing, and the fights are epic and jaw-dropping. And even though I've read the scripts, they still take me by surprise. I still kind of can't believe it. So yeah, the fight scenes are absolutely incredible.
For Debbie, it's more emotional scenes.
Yes, emotional devastation.
It's more emotional devastation, emotional. But that, as an actor, is always a joy and a thrill to play. And you know, Gillian and I've spoken about this. It's such a great opportunity to experience as an actor, because you're putting all your skill right into this microphone. So you can't see obviously our face, but it's just so exciting to do, and that your immediate and first instinct is coming out vocally. It's great to do. We love it.
You mentioned, Robert, you mentioned the fan base before, and of course, you know a lot of people love The Walking Dead, love Invincible. You know how people think. Yeah, a lot of Walking Dead fans here. I mean, you know how the fans, they think. Are they welcoming change whenever you try to change something?
Well, I mean, sometimes on The Walking Dead, not so much. So maybe I learned my lesson. We'll see. Or maybe I'm going to change crazy things in Invincible. But yeah, I mean, it's I don't know. The fan base is important. You know, I'm always mindful of the fact that these things never make it to a point where they become shows without the fans' support. And the fans that have been supporting the comics since the very beginning, that, you know, live and breathe the comics as much as we do when we're making them, you know, they deserve to be respected, and they deserve for us to, you know, put an extra level of care and consideration into how we adapt the show so that we preserve the thing that, you know, they were into in the first place. There's like a symbiotic relationship to that. I feel like they've done good by me so much that that I owe it to them as well. So a tremendous amount of effort is put into making sure that every scene in Invincible delivers.
Right. Well, guys, as we've been saying, your previous work has a lot of fans here in Brazil. We talked about The Walking Dead. We talked about Grey's Anatomy before you were here. We talked about Community, of course. So I want to propose a little bit of a crossover here. I wonder if I say the name of some of the characters from these shows, if you can tell me how they would do in the world of Invincible against all these superheroes. All right, let's start with the one and only Dr. Christina Yang.
I think Dr. Christina Yang would very quickly take Cecil's job.
Yes.
I think she would very quickly start running things, and I think she would be a real nemesis to Cecil. I think she'd take him down.
Yeah, real surgeon.
I agree.
Yeah, for sure. And what about Britta? What do you think she would do?
I think Britta Perry would be very useful if you needed to annoy a supervillain into giving up. If you wanted to confuse someone and then they think, you know what, maybe Earth isn't worth conquering after all, I think that would be Britta Perry's superpower in the world of Invincible.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And what about Negan?
I think Negan would very quickly get his head bashed in by Invincible.
All right.
Yeah, probably.
All right.
I don't think that version of Stephen Yeun would take it.
Well, just to finish, what about Tiffany from The Bear?
Oh, Tiffany from The Bear. Let me think. She's already dealt with a really difficult husband, so maybe she and Debbie could become good friends and they could commiserate about difficult exes.
They would have a group together
Yes.
and then take over the world.
And then take over the world. Yeah.
And what about Eve from Camille Eve?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, gosh. Eve, I actually think Eve would join the Guardians of the Globe. And I think she might be working hand in hand with Robot. Or she might team up with your character from Community.
Britta.
I think she might team up with
I
Britta.
want to see that.
Well, Invincible has also been confirmed for a 4th season already. I wonder, Robert, are you guys working towards a specific number of episodes you want to end it on? Like maybe 6 seasons and a movie?
I like to say 8 seasons and 10 movies.
400 seasons!
Yes! Yes!
Guys.
Invincible forever and then more.
Yes!
But I mean, we do have a plan in mind. We have the benefit of having the full comic book series, and we are trying to plan for the best possible adaptation, and that is going to take a number of seasons. I mean, it kind of feels like we're going a little slow. I mean, you can see where we're at with season 3. So if we get our wish, we'll be around for a while.
Yeah, it's all right. Take your time. We are here. We'll be here. We'll be
Yeah,
here.
I hope
Thank
that
you.
you enjoy
Yes.
it. Keep watching it.
Guys, thank you so much. Invincible,
much.
people!
Obrigado.